Dad, I thought coming into this season, remember what I said to you a few weeks back? Maybe we should have started this last year, because last year was a freaking soap opera.
Right.
Well, let me just insert my foot straight into my, throat, because, oh boy, do we have yet another doozy of a season. OU football, why do you do this to me? Really? This fan base? This team? It will be the death of me, Dad. It really will be the death of me at some point. Might be the death of both of us, unfortunately.
I agree. Yeah.
Last week, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, Dad. Last week, I was concerned. Now, I'm getting worried. Maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but what I saw last week was an utter embarrassment. I can't even pretend to be like, oh, we just didn't play that well. No, we got outclassed last week.
Agree.
And now I'm getting texts from Uncle Ryan saying that Venables is not going to last long here. There are people who are already, comparing this to the John Blake era.
I don't know if we're there yet.
Those are some dark times if I've ever seen it.
That's dark times.
But, and before OU Texas, this is the best performance you can pull out. Now, I know that Venables is really mad right now, and he should be, because, we got a legacy to uphold here.
Right. I don't know if he's mad or he's embarrassed or disgusted. I don't know. He needs to be all of the above.
I'm sure he is.
It's horrible, so.
But, yeah. Dad, fill me up. Or not, that sounded weird. But, Dad, what you got to say for yourself? What are you saying?
All of the above with what you just said. Promising season going. I was so excited. We romped on Nebraska. We beat Kent State. They gave Georgia some problems. Never saw the K-State game coming. That happened. Okay. My thought was we were going to be able to get it together. Obviously, TCU has good players. They got a new coach, Sonny Dykes, who runs the spread that we're all familiar with here in Oklahoma. But it's TCU. We'd won 8 in a row. I thought, no way that we would get blown out of the stadium. I thought we could lose, but I didn't think we were going to get blown out. So I was jaw dropped.
And like I said, I posted on Twitter the other day, where's the pride? Where's the self-respect, OU?
Yeah.
Where's your fucking rage? Your self-respect!
I expected, if we do lose, I expect more graceful, heartbreakers are more graceful than getting blown out.
Yeah.
Okay, we are not Kansas.
Not only
At least, not Kansas last couple of years before they suddenly started getting good.
Not only did we get blown out, we got blown out in the first quarter.
Disgraceful.
It was over in the first quarter.
It was disgraceful.
And obviously, I was hoping that we could make a comeback. No, it got worse in the second quarter. 40-something, 41 points in the first half. Nearly 500 yards, maybe more than 500 yards.
I knew there was going to be some growing pains. I told you that. But this is just oh my Lord. What are we going to do?
I don't know.
Now, OU fans do have a knack for overly dramatizing things. There's people comparing this to the John Blake era, which I wasn't alive for, but Dad, you were.
Oh my God.
So, what do you think?
Well, I don't think it's John Blake era stuff. When I watched John Blake and his teams, they didn't know where to line up. They didn't know. They were running fake kickoffs. They would all run like they were going to kick off and then stop and back up like that's going to fake somebody out. They were talking trash against the other team, and they were 2-8. I mean, it was just pitiful, unorganized. It was just, I stopped listening to the games, and I'm a lifetime OU fan.
I'll give you that. Venables is not, our team is not Our team is not doing that.
We're not there. We're not
we
there.
We seem a little more
there.
disciplined than that.
No.
But we didn't look good. We looked awful.
Right. And
but I'll just say this. TCU, you totally outclassed us right there.
Oh, yeah.
That you just played the better game, I think, because we looked like a mess out there.
Did you hear who the offensive coordinator was for TCU?
Who?
The brand new offensive coordinator?
Who?
A man by the name of Garrett Riley.
Oh! Lincoln's brother?
Yes.
Oh my, of course! But of course!
I'm sure Lincoln called him and said, run this, run that, they can't stop this, they can't stop that.
Lincoln is, he's still screwing us from from California.
He probably remembered all the mistakes that the players made when he was when Grinch was coaching and said, hey, run this, they bite on this every time. That's my opinion.
Garrett Wright. Oh, man.
He's that same little smug look on his face that Tebow has.
No.
So, yeah, very upset, very disappointed. I really thought that we had a great chance of going into TCU, winning the game, and
I'm hoping then OU Texas. That's all. That's a nail biter for us every season,
right?
Because man, Texas pulls out. Even if Texas sucks, they're going to be pulling out all the guns,
right?
And I'm sure we better pull out all the guns this upcoming weekend.
We should. What are we saving plays for now? Now, in my day, I believe we were 0-5 under John Blake, if we're talking about the John Blake era now. 0-5, we go into the Red River Rivalry, 96-ish, 97, 98, I don't remember the year. I think it was like 96. We were 0-5, and we go in there and stun Texas in overtime and beat them. I was at that game, and actually was giving some Texas fans a very hard time in the fair there as they were walking out. I actually had a guy come up and stick his finger right against my nose, the middle finger. So yeah, anything can happen in these rivalry games. Texas was a dumpster fire 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe it's been longer than that, maybe 5 years ago, and they beat us. So anything can happen in a rivalry game. I hope that they still have some pride. I hope that they walk into that Cotton Bowl and they see that half orange and half red, and they get some pride and they get some energy and they, fight.
I mean, we were already pretty demoralized after last week, but this one was just... Mims was uncharacteristically bad. He dropped the first pass.
Yeah, that's
the game.
That started the onslaught off. We get the ball, we take the ball, we win the toss, and we take the ball. I don't understand that. You always kick and get the ball in the second half. That way you can stop them and get the ball and go down and put the score on, and you're getting the ball in the second half. We do that. We get a good run. We had a little short run. I just can't stand that the only thing that we do is start out with run, run, run. Sometimes you have to pass the ball and open it up a little bit to get the run started. And then once you start running, then they start protecting against that, and then you can pass it again. It just seems like Levy is a one-trick pony right now. He's just running the jet sweep where he hands it off to the wide receiver going wide. They stop that. He hands it to Eric Gray at the middle.
I've had problems with Levy, even when we were 3-0 there for a little bit. And I'm like, he just seems kind of vanilla play calling. And I'm sorry, but the vanilla play calling is not gonna cut it. At least next week. Texas. Now I know there's some people saying right now that OU, we're still on the rebuild. And if you remember, in 2020, we also had 2 losses in a row. Mm-hmm. And one to that pesky Kansas State because
correct.
We're all for some reason we're always scrambling with them. Mm-hmm. At least the last couple of years we've been scrambling with them. And guess what? we pulled out the win against Texas against the odds.
Right, and then we won 6 in a row.
Uh-huh.
And we got bowl ultimately. We went to the Sugar Bowl that year. So.
And Lincoln Riley's only bowl win with us, by the way.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah, it could be.
So I'm hoping, against all odds, that that's going to happen. But we'll see. But, oh yeah, I forgot to do our intro. This is yet another episode of Days of Us Sooners.
Uh-oh.
Where another more flabbergasted episode where we're just going to be shaking our heads the whole time, talking about the never-ending soap opera that is OU football. I am Britton Summers. I'm here with my dad, Todd.
Hello.
Lifelong OU fans. Lifelong OU fan. How you doing?
I'm fine. Hello, fans. Maybe we should change the name to Dark Days of our Sooners. I hope not.
Yeah,
I
right
hope
now.
not.
I'm hoping not. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just growing pains of OU.
I'm tired of
this-
excuses. I see this fan base of ours. Gotta love them. They're my neighbors. They're my brethren. They're OU Sooners. But we're immediately jumping on the, oh no, we've lost 2 games. We got blown out 1 game. And it's the John Blake era.
I know. Yeah, Ryan was texting me, has been texting back and forth, and he's like, I don't know if we're going to beat Texas. Texas, who should have beaten a barely trying Alabama and still lost the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Lost
I'm
to
sorry.
Texas Tech, too. They gave up the lead.
Sarkisian chokes them.
Uh-huh.
He chokes games with amazing capacity. Did you see last year's Red River? He had us by the balls,
Yeah.
and he still lost against us. So, all I'm saying is, guys, don't give up too early. But at the same time, I understand your frustration. I guess purple is just, no, it's our kryptonite.
I guess. Well, at least we don't have any more purple teams on the schedule, unless we're going to call Kansas purple. They're kind of bluish, though.
Yeah, Kansas is blue.
Yeah, and the fan base is also, we've got new coaches and the players need time to figure out new schemes. Guess what? TCU has a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Their starting quarterback went down with an injury in week 1. They bring in their backup, which has played in previous years, so he's not a true backup in my opinion, and blow the doors off of us.
I don't know what's going on here. I mean, the reasons I can come up with are either maybe we're just not as good as we thought we were this year, or
that's for sure,
or growing pains of a new era.
I guess.
I mean, Bob did go 7-5. To be fair, in his first year,
he took a 2-9 team or a 4-7 team, though. He took a really crappy team and brought them to 7-5. We were 10-2 last year, and now we're falling back like this. That's a big difference. Here's another thing the fans are saying. Oh, our players, it takes time for them to learn new schemes. Oh,
I've heard that. Yeah.
Lincoln Riley took all of our good players, and we have all the leftovers. No, we went into the portal and we got new guys ourselves. So if those guys sucked, why did we get them? Let the young guys that we have as the new freshmen play. If we're going to blow the season up, let those guys play. So I'm tired of the excuses. We have good enough players. We have better talent than TCU. We have better talent than K-State.
We had we're like the top talent. Like we were like 4th best class. Maybe last year.
We had the 6th best class this year. I don't remember. I think we were top 10 last year. I don't remember. There were some guys that left.
I don't know if it's the coaching or if we were just demoralized after last week. But oh my lord, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, I listened to the Brent Venables and watched the playback. I watched the huddle, and then Toby Rowland's show with Venables. And basically, what he's saying is that the guys are good players. They have a lot of want to. They're not giving up. They want to win. They don't want to do bad, but they're just a little out. They're not following their assignment. They're not trusting that guy next to them. And so when you don't do your job and let the play since you didn't do your job, you let the play get outside of you or get inside of you, then that throws the whole defensive scheme off. So I'm just going to have to go with what Brent Venables say. I still believe in Brent Venables. He is no John Blake. Okay.
I've been trying to give Brent Venables the benefit of the doubt, and I've been getting texts from people like, "Oh no John Blake," and I'm like, well, I wasn't alive in the John Blake era, but I don't think he's that bad. I mean, he came from Clemson, who alongside Alabama and Georgia was an unstoppable beast.
John Blake was a coach. I think before he came to Oklahoma, he played for Oklahoma, so we had some love for him. But he was the defensive line coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, that's fine, but no coordination. He wasn't a coordinator. He didn't create an offense or a defense.
I heard he was a good recruiter, though.
He was a good recruiter. That's why when Bob got hold of him and we put the pieces in place with the strong leadership and the strong game planning on both sides of the ball, we were able to be successful. So I think, we just have to give Venables a little bit of time
to breathe.
I wouldn't be surprised if we win this week. Maybe I'm smoking some OU love here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we won this game, get a little momentum back, and win more games and become bowl eligible. I see the fan base. And
OU Texas. Ryan was all like, "I think they're gonna blow us out," and I'm all like, "Dude, nah, I don't think so." Yeah. But it's always a barn burner when it comes to Red River. Yeah. Now, could I be wrong? Obviously. Am I being a bit too optimistic for my own good? Maybe a little bit. But from what I've seen from Texas, I can definitely see him choking this game away.
Yeah, I can
again.
Too. I can too.
Because Sarkisian is very gifted at that.
And it seems the one team that's really, highly favored in the game, they come in they're going to roll their helmet on the field and we're going to win because we're Texas and OU's down. And that's when you get bit. That's when you get bit.
Overconfidence makes you careless.
That's right. So, I'm hoping that's what's happened with Texas. So Levy, I think we talked about him for a minute. I think his offense is bland. It's too predictable. The times when he throws the ball,
it wasn't accurate at all.
With downfield, when Levy calls the plays and throws, and Gabriel throws the ball accurately, we have big plays. With Brandon Willis had the big play where I think he got knocked down at the 1 yard line. So we're capable of big plays, but we got to set these guys up for success.
We got to pull out all the big guns,
Yeah. And Gabriel, we're used to Sam Bradford, and as much as I didn't like Landry Jones, we had him. He was capable. We had Mayfield.
I have less than fond memories of Landry.
Murray. We had Big Game Hurt. We had Rattler, who was capable. Then we had Superman.
I think we might have broke Rattler though.
Yeah, we did break Rattler, but we had Superman. So we've had these offensive quarterbacks that could keep us in games when our defense.
Did you mention Kyler?
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So we had the guys that were the quarterbacks that were able to keep us in games when we got into these defensive debacles, and now Gabriel's not the man. Now, if he had a Clemson defense, he might be fine, but he's not the man for this horrific defense that we've been playing the last couple of weeks. I hope we can get it straightened out. But Gabriel, I don't know who he's throwing to. I don't know if he needs glasses. I don't know what's going on, but he can't hit a wide open guy. Now, he can hit a guy downfield like a long ball.
The guy has, you could say, suspect instincts as a quarterback.
Yeah.
At the moment, because last week he had a very clear pass to Drake Stoops and he just threw it past him. You're like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
But
seems like he gets locked into one guy.
I hope we don't break Dylan Gabriel as well, but at the same time, I don't know if Dylan Gabriel's the guy. Yeah.
We've got a new quarterback coming in next year, Arnold, 5-star quarterback. He's going to be our savior, I think. We got a guy from Flower Mound, Texas, named Ewers this year. I don't know why we don't play him. Now,
we have a guy called General Booty.
General Booty, I guess he's not any good. I don't know. He didn't get...
I couldn't... anything has to be better than Bevel. Did you see Bevel play? Horrendous.
Davis Bevel.
Horrendous.
Let me get this straight. We recruited and took out of the portal the third-string quarterback from Pitt. Who the hell's Pitt?
Well,
Pitt?
eh,
Pitt won 1 year with Tony Dorsett. Other than
that's true.
they're horrible.
Yeah,
and Dan Marino went there, so I'll give him credit for that. But Davis Bevel,
they always come from the unexpected places, the legends for NFL.
a third-team quarterback from Pitt, that's who we recruit, and we don't have anybody behind him that can beat him out for second team. I don't know. I'll tell you another thing.
Dude cannot let go of the ball at all.
He's scared.
He looked like he did not know what he was doing, and that is very worrying.
Another thing, the kid is slower than Landry Jones. I might be able to outrun him, but I'm 58 years old. And then Levy is calling quarterback run plays with the guy? What the heck are we doing?
Hashtag fire Levy.
He's an OU guy. I'm gonna give him a little more time, but he better come up with something different. He better turn to page 2 on his playbook, because that's just ridiculous. Davis Bevel is not the answer. I hope to the Lord above that they figure out what this guy can do well and they run those plays. I think our running game was strong. Gray was strong.
Our running game was not bad.
The Barnes kid is running hard. He looks like he's going to be a superstar. So, I think we have some offensive prowess.
We have. I'll just put it this way, and maybe I'm understating it, but we do have some major issues. There are some issues that we need to deal with.
Definite issues. Now, as bad as Gabriel was, and even before that, I said, why don't we bring in a backup or maybe
and see how he does?
Yeah, this guy's pitiful. And then lo and behold, the TCU guy gives one of the worst targeting cheat shots.
Blatant targeting
I've ever seen in a college football game.
Now, they said the guy felt bad about it, but still, that was targeting right there.
He felt bad because he got kicked out of the game. That's what he felt bad about. I don't think he felt bad about knocking our quarterback out, but
it's like, they're like, oh man, if Gabriel gets hurt, talk about a checkoff injury.
Yeah, and just as I had mentioned that I wish they would give the backup a second chance. Gabriel gets knocked out, and guess what Mom says? I guess you get your wish. Oh boy,
sadly,
that was a bad.
I'm sorry.
That was a bad wish.
Sadly, the guy is not Caleb Williams.
He's not Caleb Williams. He can't carry Caleb Williams' jockey strap. Right? He's pitiful.
So, yeah, very worrying time we're in right now.
Yeah, it's scary out there. And I remember in that 2020 season that I didn't, as we lost the 2 games, I was looking down our schedule and I couldn't find a win other than maybe Kansas on our schedule. And lo and behold, we turned it around and won 6 in a row. It started with that Texas game. So,
yeah, 2 losses is either going to do 2 things. Either we can be like Texas last year and just be broken entirely after that devastating loss against us truly, or you get really mad and you show everybody just how wrong they are.
Right. Mad don't win games, and talent don't win games. It's player execution that win games. So I hope that they are mad and angry and embarrassed, but I hope they learn what they're supposed to do and play their position, do their role, do their job, and have success. Once you do your job and you have success, then you are more inclined to do your job again.
Well, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just like, did they really talk smack even though they were 2-8?
Oh yeah. I remember they were. I think it was '98. I lived in Dallas at the time. We went to OU versus TCU. We're down 10-0 at halftime. We look pitiful. Nobody knows where to line up. I think we played 3 quarterbacks. Not because they got hurt, because John Blake just kept, I don't know what to do. Here you go. You go out there. You go out there. You go out there. It was just ridiculous. Coming out at halftime, the OU players are taunting the TCU guys. So I start screaming at the OU players. Look at the scoreboard. You're getting your butts kicked. Get on the field. Get on the sidelines. Well, it got so bad. It was still 10-0. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Was this before Patterson?
Yes, well before Patterson. But me and Mom and Sally leave the stadium. I wanted to get out of there before...
You had a stroke.
Before the TCU fans turned on me. About 2 blocks away, I hear... Boomer Sooner, Boomer Sooner. I'm like, what's going on? Did we score? I get in the car, and we've scored twice and still win the game. That was one of our 3 wins that year. So. Yes. So, we've been in some dark times before, Britt. I don't see us being in a dark time again. This might be a season of
rebuilding.
It might be a rebuilding. It might be a tear it down. Like when we remodeled the house and we tore it all down and then we rebuilt it. It might be something like that. If we're going to do that, let our younger guys play. Let them get some experience. Let them get their butts kicked and learn from it. And then next year we get another good recruiting class in. And we've got another year to learn our schemes and know where to be in the right spot. Hopefully we can be better.
I'm trying to stay optimistic because we are not a team that just lays down and dies.
No.
As long as I've been around, OU is not a team that just folds. And that's what pisses me off about the fan base. They're acting like we're sitting down and fold. Yeah. No, good sir. Have you seen the last 20 years? Or at least I've been around for 20 years. We do not lay down and die. Okay?
You've been living in a...
We've been living in a good age,
a golden age of OU football, which it's been golden since I was born, too. I mean, in the 60s, it was pitiful. I wasn't old enough to know too much about it. My parents weren't too much into OU football. Mom and dad divorced. My dad was into OU football, but I lived with my mom. And so I didn't know too much about OU football until the early 70s. And then, that's when Barry came in, and he started feeding that monster, and we started winning national championships and winning every year all the way through the 80s. So I was like you. Oh, we're going to do this every year. We're OU. And then all of a sudden there was a little scandal, and Barry ended up resigning, and then we hired Gary Gibbs.
Didn't he work under
he was
Switzer?
Defensive coordinator for Switzer. I think it was Switzer's handpicked guy. We kind of went 9-2 or something like that. Not terrible, but not up to Switzer's level. And so we decided to get rid of him, and then we brought in Schnellenberger for 1 year, and we didn't have a very good season there, and he was mean to the players, and so we got rid of him. And then we said, well, Schnellenberger's not from Oklahoma. Let's bring in John Blake. He's an Oklahoma guy. He knows the Oklahoma Sooner way. Uh-oh. Disaster. Head coaching's, you're an executive in an organization and you're running every part of that. He just was not up to that. And then finally, he was a good recruiter. Finally, we brought in Bob Stoops, the savior, and brought it back. This is when you were born.
Yeah, I was born in the Stoops era. Yeah. A lot of fond memories from that age.
Yeah, so I don't think we're there in the Blake era. Brent Venables is no John Blake. And
he ain't gonna lay. He doesn't seem like the type who'll lay down.
And he's been successful. John Blake had never coached anything other than the defensive line there at the Cowboys. But
didn't he work with us before too?
He might have coached some of our defensive line, but he never coordinated. He wasn't an executive of the offense, defense, or the head coach of a team. Brent Venables has been a defensive coordinator for 20 plus years. He's won national championships.
He won with us.
He knows what it takes to win. Mm-hmm. That's why it's not the Blake era. That's why I'm not worried. He will get it straightened out. I hope that we don't have a losing season this year.
That's the thing. I don't think we'll have one. It's just the cracks are very apparent right now, and I am very worried. But we are a team. I remember a few years ago, it was somebody, maybe it was Joel Klatt or somebody like that. He's like, OU, they have a talent for bouncing back. And really thinking that's what's going to happen. Either that or, I don't know. You're going to be in a bleak season this year.
Speaking of Joel Klatt, is Gus back?
I think he is. I don't know.
I guess he hasn't called any of the Big 12 games.
No, not recently.
Yeah. So.
If you didn't know, big fan of Gus Johnson. I love his commentary.
Hollywood! Well, let's turn it to the defense.
Defense, that was what I was most disappointed with because we were looking sexy, like Farrah Fawcett looking defense right there.
We were swarming to the ball. We were getting.
We were being aggressive, and
oh my goodness!
I don't know what happened. If we got complacent, then last week I'd be like, okay, fine, maybe we got a little overconfident and kind of bit us in the ass. This week, I don't know what happened, but they were mocking us out there.
Garrett Riley happened. Lincoln Riley.
That slippery Riley family.
Exactly. That stupid little mustache he had. What's so sickening about it is it was 5 or 6 plays. 5 or 6 plays in the game that went for over 350 yards. Just those 6 plays. Those 6.
I'm just going to come out and say it. They played the better game. That's just... I don't know what happened. Again, I try not to make excuses, but I'm always just like, what is going on here so we can fix it?
Right.
Because, I don't want to live in a John Blake sort of era for OU. It's something that haunts my nightmares from time to time.
I've only got a few years left, maybe a decade or 2 at the most. I can't handle another John Blake era.
But I mean,
I have to have some joy.
I doubt that, but yeah, just we didn't look great, and I don't know what happened. I'm just gonna say OU fix it because I don't want to come back 3 losses. I don't know what's gonna happen. 3 losses in a row. I'm gonna flip out.
3 losses in a row. We may have to start this thing over again next year. The line, we're playing a 3-man line. I just have to assume that Riley felt like that our zone defense, dropping 8 in coverage against a pass-happy TCU team was the way to go. Oh, no. Our guys don't know how to play the zone defense. The guys don't stay in their areas. They jump up. They're looking in the backfield, and they think they know what's going to happen. Well, a good quarterback, they can fake you out with their head. They can look this way, and all of a sudden when you run up, whoop, see ya, touchdown. There's another one. There's another. Touchdown, with no offense to back that up. We're going to get smoked, and that's what happened.
Yeah, we just got outclassed.
Yeah.
That's really what I think happened.
No doubt about that.
It's not really that. I don't know if it's. I don't know if there's anyone to blame here, but what I can say for absolute certainty, we just got outplayed.
One thing I heard this week that I thought was pretty funny. Ted Roof, our defensive coordinator. Have you seen the guy?
No.
Older gentleman. Looks just like Steve Martin.
Oh, you mean that older guy? I think they showed him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Is that our defense?
Uh-huh. They're calling him Steve Martin. But he ain't that funny. Because Sooners are getting their butts kicked. They ain't funny at all. He needs to take his jokes somewhere else. So they better straighten it up. Now, what about and then we had injuries. Oh, my God, they were beating us down.
They were hungry,
after
man.
Injury. Gabriel.
I guess they were mad. What happened, TCU?
8 years...
Did we kill your dog?
8 years in a row, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we did. Yeah, we did kill their dog.
8 years in a row defeating TCU, but Gabriel goes down on a cheap shot. Eric Gray out. Marcus Major out against Kansas State. We're down to our third linebacker. Theo Weiss goes down with a tweaked knee. I'm hoping he'll be back. 2 linemen are hurt. Both of them, look like they...
Dude had like a weird neck injury that was pretty scary.
Yeah, on the defensive side, Billy Bowman, our best guy, he's hurt.
Still got Stutzman, but he hasn't really been doing much, though.
Right, and then the horrific injury with Harmon. I heard Venables say that it was just a very bad stinger, which means you get hit and, you can kind of go numb there for a minute, or there's a lot of pain involved in it, and there was in his neck and shoulder areas. Mm-hmm. But they just beat us up. They didn't just beat us on the scoreboard. We were dropping like flies out there. Yeah,
they were. I'll give it this to them. They were hungry, and they were prepared, and we it was a fair loss. Mm-hmm. Like I it's not a Sarkisian where I can blame bad coaching or bad play, even though there was bad play on our end. but we just got beaten. It wasn't a fun. It was a terrible loss, but we lost fairly.
It was so bad that ESPN took it off ESPN and threw it on another channel. And I had to go search for it. It didn't even put it on a good channel. I had to go look for it for a few minutes. And when I get over there and finally find it, we've got our player injured. And then there was a 7-10 minute delay while he's laid out. So it was just a nightmare. The radio show that I always like to listen to afterward, all the fans are down. Suicide watches all over Oklahoma.
Yeah, no.
Al and Jim, there's no way we're going to win another game this year unless we turn something around very quickly. I don't disagree with them. Then we got Texas coming up. So, what to expect with Texas, Brett?
Well, like I said, I think Texas is very suspect.
They've lost to themselves. Go ahead.
Because Texas, last year and this year, because last year was Sarkisian's first year.
Right.
All right. It's a new system. You're going to have some struggle, right? 4-7 is pretty embarrassing for someone. I mean, OU and Texas fans are very prideful individuals.
Correct.
They take their football seriously.
Right.
So, Texas, I understand what you're feeling. I'm gonna give you a vine. I know how you feel last year. I know how you felt last year.
Yeah.
But they kept Sarkisian like, you know what? We're going to give you another chance to prove yourself. And he is doing the same stuff he was doing. And Ryan was like, oh, but he shredded Alabama. Yes, which he lost by... He lost a game against Alabama who was barely trying. Barely trying. And he still lost. Because I guess Saban has like his black magic or whatever. I don't know what's going on with Saban.
He sold his soul to the devil, that's for sure. Just kidding.
Ryan, just kidding, of course. But, Ryan's all like, I think Texas is going to be... They went up, they played Alabama. I'm like, bro, if you saw that game, you'd know Alabama was barely trying against Texas. And that's the only reason they almost won that game.
They lost to Texas Tech.
And they lost to Texas Tech.
That's not Alabama.
Exactly. And I don't want to diss on Texas Tech because, I don't know, I'm sure... Texas Tech, they played a good game against Texas a few weeks ago. Yeah. And, I mean, we laughed at Texas, Sarkisian choked it again. But...
Oh, we were happy then.
Oh.
That was before the K-State game.
Yeah, I know.
We thought we were sitting on the world.
Yeah, we were laughing at, Texas, like a good OU fan does.
Uh-huh.
And, and it's like, I don't know, Ryan was just like... I'm like, Ryan, I love you, bro. But you were talking some nonsense right there. They lost to Texas Tech out of all teams.
Mm-hmm. Well,
in overtime.
Here's what we got to look forward to.
They choked again.
Yeah.
He is a master of choking away game. Aside from the very impressive time management in that Texas Tech game.
Yeah, they had it won.
He still choked that game.
Yeah.
He still choked it.
Uh-huh. Now, this is what we got to look forward to. On offense, Davis Bevel, third-team quarterback. I wonder how he's going to do against those 4- and 5-star defensive players that Texas has. Third-string running back.
I just think third string or Barnes, isn't it? I think Barnes has some promise.
Barnes is going to be a superstar.
He's shown a lot of promise.
I hope they run him 30 times. Offensive lineman out. Not good. Let's think about when Texas is on offense. Ewers is back. Their starting quarterback before he got hurt against Alabama. He's back is what I'm hearing. Bijan Robinson, the leading rusher in the
best running back in NCAA, from what I remember. That dude was shredding us last year, even though we came back and won it because Lincoln Riley also used satanic black magic to win that game.
And then Worthy, their all-star, all-Big 12 receiver. Oh, our defense better buckle up. They better buckle up. That's all I have to say.
Well, I mean, like I said, rivalry games are always a strange thing.
That's my only hope is that the rivalry game curse will hit. that we can sneak up on them. Maybe.
But I just have a feeling, and maybe it's just me clawing at the dark here, but I have a feeling Sarkisian's just going to choke it again because he's done it before. He has showcased that he's still doing it. He has not learned his lessons from last year for some reason. Now, if Texas wins, I would not be surprised.
Right.
I will give to people who are like, oh, Texas is going to roast us. Even though they're pissing me off right now, I'll give you a vine. I won't be surprised if Texas wins. But Texas has some glaring holes. And if we exploit them, I think we could pull it out.
Okay, I'm going to go reverse psychology, reverse jinx. We're getting ready to get our ass kicked. We're getting ready to get blown out. I hope that there's no way we can win. I know how you love when I say stuff like that. So I'm going to do the reverse psychology. Well, I think we've talked enough about this pitiful game.
Oh.
Let's go on to some games that happened this week that we were interested in. So OSU Baylor.
I didn't actually really watch that game because I was so bummed out after the OU game. Didn't ruin my weekend. I remember our friend Jordan, who, funnily enough, is a Texas fan. Mm-hmm. He's like, I try not to let it ruin my weekend. I'm like, I'll take that advice. I'll try to not let it ruin my day.
Right.
But I'll admit, I was very bummed out after that loss.
Yeah.
So I didn't really pay attention to a lot of college football the rest of the day.
Well, Baylor's at home. I'm thinking Baylor's going to squeak one out. They won the Big 12 championship last year. They're at home. There's a lot of new defensive players, new defensive coordinator at OSU, and lo and behold, OSU has a pulse and is taking control of the Big 12 here.
Man, they're mad they got ripped off from the Big 12 championship, I think.
Right, so they come out and beat Baylor 36-25, so you have to say OSU's the front runner to win the Big 12, although TCU looked like a champion. They look like they were world beaters.
To be honest, we're in the real rebuild season. I'll admit I didn't think that we were going to, I didn't think we were going to win like a natty or anything like that.
Right.
Because, Big 12, I was kind of putting that on the maybe because we tend to like have really good luck when it comes to the Big 12 championship. But after this, I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
But,
well,
OSU, man, they've been screwed out of so many Big 12 championships, and they got screwed out over last year. Hey, maybe you guys could win. Yeah. We'll see.
I was also, I guess glad to see that Kansas State beat Texas Tech. I didn't, usually Kansas State beats us, and then they don't play for, any good against all the other teams. So Kansas State won. So I guess that's a positive for us. The team we lost to didn't get beat the very next week. And then how about your favorite team in the Big 12 to kick and beat down for years and years, your favorite, the Kansas Jayhawks?
It's like the Browns, man. I'm always like, Kansas is like that little train that could. And now they finally, after years of just being laughable, they're finally seeming to look at the light, and they're actually a contender this year. And I'm really hoping, Kitty, please don't sit on the sheet. Oh well, you know what? Never mind. You can lay that down. But Kansas finally seems to be pulling their act together. I am just saying I am wary about that game as well because.
That's coming up next, right after Texas.
Oh, my God.
It's not getting any easier. And that's at home. Kansas beating us at home after we were laughing at Texas for losing at home at Kansas.
Well, they're better, but they're better this year, so.
It's
Kansas. Still. Kansas.
I guess that's what Texas said last year. They're better this year. They almost beat OU. Remember how we almost lost to them?
Yeah.
So they were better last year, too. Is Kansas ranked?
I just saw it we were looking on the phone, and looks like they were.
Am I dreaming right now?
I have no idea. This is like 2007 levels of weird season. What? I thought last year was crazy. This is the sequel.
Are we in like a Harry Potter topsy-turvy world here?
I have no idea. This is strange. Like, hey, they showed signs last year that they're sick of being the punching bag of the Big 12. So, all I'll say is, Jayhawks, I'm actually happy for you, because I'd love to see some quality, competitive football. I'm just hoping we get better before that game. So
that's coming up quick. And They go into Iowa State and beat them 14-11. That's what we call the old tractor pull, Brett. Not much offense in there, but going into Iowa State, as we know very well as Sooner fans, it's not easy to win there. So big win by them. Like you said, got to be proud of Kansas. I'm no fan, but...
I'm no fan, but I love to see the underdog pull it out.
You know what I'd love to see? OU basketball beat Kansas this year. Just return it. It's topsy-turvy world, so maybe if they beat us, then, why did I say that? I'll wash my mouth out with soap here in a minute. Okay, and then three big SEC games that caught my eye. Georgia had to come back against lowly Missouri.
I know. I was like, whoa. I remember I was still in hardcore cope mode after OU and TCU walk in 16-3. Georgia against Missouri. I'm like, I'm sorry? Pardon? And is this real life?
And actually,
what is this season so far?
And actually, Missouri should have had a touchdown, and they ended up getting a field goal. But the guy runs the ball down to the 1 yard line, and and didn't make it. And then they end up Georgia holds them, and that ended up being the difference in the game. And I knew it once they failed there. Here came Georgia, slowly but surely coming back, and they took control of the game there in the last few minutes of the game and ended up winning it 26-22.
I'd be a bit worried that their coach might jump ship after a game like that because last year that we had a couple of games like that, and then Lincoln Riley was like, "Later, bastards," and left.
Mm-hmm. And so Georgia doesn't look like a juggernaut. They look beatable. We'll see what happens. Maybe they laid down. They knew it was Missouri. They were looking past.
Maybe they were
Missouri
caught off guard.
A little bit. So. And then Alabama, Arkansas, of course, we're somewhat Razorback Hog
basically,
fans.
we pull for Arkansas when we're not pulling for OU, or
That's
you
right.
know, in
That's
OSU we're more like, we hope they win unless they're playing us.
Yeah.
Or Arkansas, man, because they were close. They were.
Yeah.
I feel like they're like trying to build towards when they can shock the world and finally get revenge on Alabama for bullying them for all these years.
Yeah.
But haven't pulled it out just yet.
Like Granny says, maybe next year.
No, they were close too. It was that sucked.
They were down and then came back and got within 3 points of Alabama, and I started thinking, okay, here we go. Alabama quarterback was hurt, and so thinking that maybe they had a chance, but Alabama had a great backup quarterback. He's busting off 77-yard runs.
Once again, that's Saban black magic.
Yeah.
That man just Houdini's himself out of losses.
He must have prayed a prayer to the dark side, and they went off in the fourth quarter and ended up.
He must have gotten advice from Darth Belichick.
So they ended up winning 49-26, so no upset there. And then Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M, buying all their players, and having that talent, it don't win games, just like Brent Venables said. And then they come up against a guy we know very well, Mike Leach, offensive coach for Mississippi State.
I was starting to think he was past his prime there for a little bit, it's like Mac Brown. That dude just keeps on kicking for some reason.
Leach has never passed his prime. He comes out and stomps A&M 42-24.
I didn't even see that game, but I'm like, woo.
Almost as embarrassing as OU TCU, I would say.
A&M, I feel the pain.
Yeah.
They lost to Appalachian State. You're like, oh. Then they barely went against Arkansas.
Right.
Which that was a great game though.
Yeah.
But then they play against Mississippi State and they just get stomped. It's like, oof.
Yeah. Woo! So for games this week, obviously we have OU Texas. One thing we didn't talk about: both teams 2 losses. Both teams unranked. First time from, don't say it, the John Blake era.
No.
Oh, so there is an omen there that it is possibly the John Blake era, but it's not. But both teams are unranked. I can't even believe we're on national TV, but it is OU Texas, the greatest rivalry in college football.
112th one, I think.
118th.
118th. All right.
So
I heard that on Twitter. Don't trust Twitter, kids.
Not going to go. Going to go down to the lake like we did last year. See if we can get the same luck on the deck, and hopefully we'll have a good weekend.
I wonder if it'll be like that movie Have you seen it? Al Pacino's the coach. And, like, Jamie Foxx is, like, young Jamie Foxx is in it. And he's, like, the third
replacements.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen that movie?
It's been a while. So.
Maybe it'll be like that. We just pull a win out of our ass.
I hope so.
But we'll see. We'll see.
And then your Jayhawks, they got to face that
TCU.
That TCU team. That's two unbeatens. Is TCU unbeaten? Yeah, TCU's unbeaten. So
is TCU unbeaten?
Yeah, TCU and Kansas. No, TCU and Kansas both unbeatens. I guess that
should be a fun game.
That's a top 25 matchup. I mean, my God, what's going on in this world today?
TCU would. They've had some years where they were a dynasty, and then there was years where they were just good.
Yeah, they had some years where they had a good quarterback. I forget his name right now at the moment. And they've always had the Gary Patterson defenses. That's another thing is Texas has Gary Patterson as their defensive coordinator.
Oof.
They're going to take 6'6" Davis Bevel and break him in half, I have a feeling.
Oh, boy.
I hope Booty's ready.
But I'm actually pulling for Kansas. It's not just because I'm salty about TCU, but oh man, Kansas is angry and they're hungry, and they want some good old fashioned payback for being the clown of the league for so long.
Mm-hmm. And I guess next week, if they win that game, they would come into Norman undefeated, and then this topsy-turvy world where they're the ranked team and we're the cellar dweller, we can ruin their season for them. That would be fun. But they got to get by TCU this week, and I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
That.
TCU looked good.
Yeah, TCU looked very good.
And I'm actually pulling for Kansas.
Yeah, I'll pull for Kansas.
Except when they're playing us. That's the only. It's the only caveat.
I'll pull for Kansas. So, I don't know if Gabriel's going to be back. I hope he's okay. Obviously,
you want to talk about Tua real quick? Speaking of him getting blasted,
let's talk about Tua. Did you hear? Obviously, Tua. I mean,
they put him in the game after he was obviously having some issues moving last week against the Raiders.
Right, he's stumbling around.
So,
it's
terrible
obviously
idea.
a concussion. They put him back in the game. Who knows what they're doing there?
He looked off the whole game, too. Like, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw clips, and he was looking off there for a bit.
Yeah, he's stumbling off the field like he's drunk. That's a concussion. You don't come back into the game. Haven't they heard of CTS?
Yeah, or CTE.
CTE?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. Haven't they heard of that? There's studies about that. There was a protocol.
There was a whole scandal about it a decade ago.
Not only did they do that, Miami has a game 4 days later on Thursday Night Football, and they throw him back out there.
Ugh.
And what happens? He gets slammed on his head, and then what happens, Brett?
He locked up.
He seized up.
That was like I was like I saw it on Twitter. I saw it blew up like praying for Tua. I'm like, oh shit, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I guess he just got sacked. And they're like, why did they put him in the game? No. Then I saw the clip, and I was like, oh man, that's serious.
Yeah.
NFL, what are you doing? And
well, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for a month after that. And
I'd be holding out after that. I'd be like, I am not risking my life after that whole debacle.
Well, fortunately, the Miami Dolphins have fired their medical staff after that. So at least that came from it, but that's just uncalled for. You can't be risking somebody's life over a football game. That was ridiculous.
I mean, we do love the game.
Of course.
But we want to play the game ethically.
Right. And I just hope he comes back and he's all right, and just
as much as he was the scourge of college football for a few years.
Of course.
Yeah, we're still human beings. We want to get better.
Exactly.
I laugh. This is awful, but I'm like, yeah. You think after that they're putting Gabriel back in? Nah, not a chance. But
I think I agree with that. I think we're gonna have to live with the week of Davis.
But yeah, Tua.
Prayers for Tua.
Hashtag prayers for Tua.
Hashtag prayers for Tua.
No, it's another one of Saban's acolytes. That's Some great players have come out of his era. Oh, man, so many.
So many.
Ezekiel Elliott, I think, or was he from Ohio State?
Yeah, he was Ohio State.
Oh, King Henry, I think, was from Alabama.
King Henry, definitely from Alabama.
One of my favorite concurrent players. That man is a beast amongst men.
Another NFL game that I don't know if
Jalen Hurts before he came over to us.
Right. Anything else?
Not at the moment.
Another great NFL game. Not great NFL game, but a game with two Sooner quarterbacks in there that I was hoping would be a great game. The Carolina Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray versus Baker Mayfield. Who were you rooting for in that one? Murray or Mayfield?
I don't know.
That's a toss-up. Both Heisman Trophy winners.
I was going for Baker, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I like Baker more for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Kyler. He was great while he was here.
Yeah, Kyler's kind of soft-spoken.
Unlucky, though, because our defense when he was with us was horrendous.
Both teams, they were horrendous. That's what we were hoping was going to change this year. But, yeah, Baker looked...
Well, like I said, don't give up too early. We are only 5 games in. But, I understand the concerns. It's not like I'm being blind to reality. Mm-hmm. This is not ideal. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, continue what you were saying.
Murray prevailed. Big blowout. Baker looked pitiful out there.
He went from a team that he managed to help bring back into relevance and went to the Carolina Panthers, who are literally a no-name team at this point.
Right. They've got a good defense. They did have a good defense, but Baker could not move the ball. And I'm going to be honest, Brett. This is the last year of Baker's contract. This might be his last year in the NFL. I hate to say it, but
oh boy,
I have a feeling that no other team's going to pick him up. Maybe as a backup, but I think this is his last year as a starter. He's just, he hasn't produced, and he's known as kind of a loudmouth. But he just hasn't produced. He produced a little bit for the Browns, and he did get them in their first winning season and a playoff victory in, decades. But they ran him out of Cleveland for a rapist.
What?
And Deshaun Watson.
Oh, I thought you meant Baker was. I'm like, what?
No, maybe he's not a rapist. He just, made some massage therapist feel a little uncomfortable. So I'm not sure what that's all about.
The only thing I know he did is he got arrested for that drinking incident in Arkansas.
That was right after college. So.
I was like, it's more just him being a dumbass.
I'm sure he's grown from that. Still makes a great Heisman House commercial, though.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good actor.
Where he's looking at Pistol Pete and say, I just can't read this guy. So they keep putting him in there as kind of the star of the show.
One of those, one of the commercials, the recurring ones, I really enjoy. I love the Fansville commercials.
Oh yeah, got Bosworth as the sheriff.
Yeah, they had like the Alabama guy in there, and he's just like he's not a bad actor either.
Yeah,
he's not like Saban, who's just like a plank of wood.
Right.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Saban's one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my life. Great
Oh,
coach,
man.
horrible actor.
Oh man, we make fun of his Aflac commercials all the time.
Aflac sold their soul too. Good grief. But Brett, I'm hoping that we have a good game this week versus Texas. I hope we turn the tide for the Sooners.
Should be a fun season, a fun week of college football.
Yeah.
It should be. This is turning into yet again, another interesting season of college football.
Oh yeah, it always is. So any last thoughts, Britt, before we end?
OU, get better. I do not want to be the laughing stock. I do not want to be the new laughing stock of the league. Right. But I don't think Venables is going to do that. I have some faith in Venables. Do not let that be misplaced.
I do too. And the last word, Boomer.
Sooner.
Good night, guys.
Anyways, this has been yet another episode of Days of Our Sooners. Until next time.